All right, because of that rule where we can't change around the timesing, what number you start with and what number you end with in your multiplying is actually going to end up with a different answer. Has anyone got an answer for that? All right, I guess we're going to do it together. So 1 times 2 plus negative 1 times 3. 1 times 2 is 2 plus negative 1 times 3. 2 plus negative 3. Negative 1. 1 times 0 plus negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 times 0 is 0 and 0 times 2 is 0, so we've got 0, okay? So that's that answer. That's the pre-multiply one. So let's look at it if we say post-multiply. So same numbers, but it says post-multiply. That means it pretty much stays in the same order, okay? So we end up with 2, 0, 3, 2 times by 1, negative 1, 2, 0. Okay, so same matrices, but just in a different order. Let's see if we end up with the same answer. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 0, so we've got 2. Already I know it's different. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 0. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 times 2 is 7. 3 times negative 1. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 plus 0, so it's negative 3. See how they have different answers. So that rule doesn't work with matrices. You have to do it in whatever order it says to do it in. So that means if you have A times B written there, you have to make sure you put the A matrix in first and then the B matrix, because it's not going to be the same if you do it around the wrong way. Everyone get that? Okay, so pre-multiply means whatever you're multiplying by goes first. Post-multiplying means whatever you're multiplying by goes second. And I've just answered question 28 for you. So 28, done. Now we're going to do 29 and 30. And people had a little bit of trouble with these two questions in my last class, so I need people to really focus in on this, okay? We don't have heaps of time. I can't give you like millions of lessons to practice these. It's going to be about trying to practice as you go. These are going to be challenging, so I need everybody focused today. All right, so the whole thing about worded questions is that we have to make sense of them. What's the question telling us? How can we answer it? Okay, so question 29 says, and if you've got it in front of you, you can read along. The 5 by 3 matrix shown on the right appeared on an earlier page. It shows the number of first, second, and third places gained by each of the 5 schools taking part in an inter-school sports carnival involving 7 sports. Determine the rank order for these schools using points. And it's using the points matrix, and it's got 2 different matrices there. Okay, so the main information it's telling us is this 5 by 3. Now, when you've got worded questions, you don't have to, but notice that there's little labels above each column and row. It kind of makes more sense to you if you can do it, if you can put little labels in, and that's fine. You're allowed to put labels in. So what it does is it kind of just keeps your mind in the right place. So this is saying first, second, third, and this is saying school A, B, C, D, E. So what's this 1 in the top corner saying? If I'm trying to, one of the things I said to you about worded questions was you need to make sense of the worded questions. What is that 1 saying, Bailey? Good. In school A, 1 person came first place. What's the rest of the row saying? There was also 1 person who came second and 1 person who came third. Okay, so if we actually think about that, with the points matrix which is there, how many points does that school get? So if we say 1 point, 3 points, 1 point. Sorry, 5 points, 3 points, 1 point. First, second, third. If we actually just make sense of it, how many points would school A get? If they got 1 first, 1 second, 1 third, they got 9 points. So that's kind of what we're trying to work out, but we're working out a way to do it with a matrix rather than just working it out by our heads. Okay? So it says, determine the rank order for these schools using points. So it's saying we're trying to find out how many points each of the schools got. So how did we work out 9? What did we actually do? We added them up. We added up 1 lot of 5. We added up 1 lot of 3 and 1 lot of 1. What does that remind you of? Matrices. What about matrices? not just adding. What's lots of mean? Times, okay? So we're actually adding, if you think about it, school A here, we're actually multiplying those numbers by the point numbers. We are. We're actually doing a multiplication matrix. Does that make sense to you guys? We go 1, 1, 1. So how would I actually work out the points for B? I would go 3 times 5 plus 1 times 3 plus 0 times 1, and we'd get our answer. Okay, so what we're actually doing in this question, and that's where we have to actually try and think about what are we trying to do, is we're just saying this times by this. And we can check our answer by, we can check that we're doing the right thing by going, okay, this is a 5 by 3 matrix. This is a 3 by 1 matrix. What sort of answer are we going to end up with? A 5 by 1, which kind of makes sense because there's 5 schools and we want to get the number of points for each school. And you can put that in your calculator and get your answer, but the answer is 9, and then 3 times 5 is 15, 18. 3 times 3, 9, plus 3 is 12. It's just the number of rows, sorry. Is that better? 5 times 1 plus is 11, and 10 plus 3 is 13. And so that's our answer. This is school A. This is points in total. A, B, C, D. Oh, try it again. A, B, C, D, E. What's the question actually asking? So first was B, second E, third C, D, A. And there's your answer. So it's about being able to understand that what you're doing when you're multiplying to be able to work out the answer. But also, because you've got your calculator and we've given you the matrices, they're usually going to be in the order which we've given them to you. Give it a try and actually try and make sense of the question first and then try and see if you can find that answer. Right. I'm going to leave B for you to do later, but can we just go have a quick look through question 30 and then I'll let you guys move on. We want to try and get to like around between 33 and 35. Okay. So question 30, can you guys have a read of that as well? I'm going to read it to you in a second. Question 30. A financial advisor sets up share portfolios for 3 clients. Each portfolio involves shares in 4 companies with the number of shares as shown below. Have a look at that matrix. Before you even look at anything else, have a look at that matrix. What's it actually telling you? What story is in that matrix? It's 3 by 4. Have a look at each row and each column and go, what is this actually telling me in the story? There's 4 different companies. What's a row show? So the columns show you the 4 different companies. What do the rows show you? Yeah. Good. Yeah, it shows you. So client A has 1,000 shares in Able, 5,000 shares in Big, 400 shares in Con, and 270 shares in Down. Can you guys see that? That's what it's saying. Then client 2 has 500, 8,000, 500, 250, and then client C has 500, 3,000. You need to get that before you can get to anywhere else because you need to understand that. Okay, each client has all of these shares and they're different companies. Okay, then it says initially the value of these shares was Able, Big, Co, Down. So it's the same as, you'll notice A, B, I'm just going to write A, B, C, D, okay, or actually I better not because there's client A, B, C, D, A, B, Co, Do, okay. It tells you the value of those, and notice they're in a column matrix, keep it in a column matrix. Now it says $5, 50 cents, $12 and $10. Do I just write that the same? Do I write $5, 50 cents? No, what do I have to do? Pardon? Divide by. Say it again. For the 50 cents, what do you reckon I should do? Write 0.5. So just make sure that it's in the same, they're all in the same measurement, okay? 12 and 10. So my question is, it says use matrix multiplication. Notice, remember how I said you have to take note of the words? It's telling you that you have to multiply by a matrix, okay, to determine the value of each client's portfolio. So we need to know how much money each client has at each of these times. So they're two different times. So we're going to have to do two different multiplications. So does this work if I actually say this matrix by this matrix in that order? Yeah, you can go 4 by 4. Yeah? And then we can go client B, those 4 by that price. And when you add them all together, you should end up with how much money in shares they have. Now, for this, you need to use a calculator. Yep, what did you get? Now, if in terms of this answer, because it's the row, so if we've got 4 by 3, oh, that didn't work, 4 by 3 by 4 by 1, we're going to end up with a 1 by 3 column. So what is it, 15,000 for all of them? So you should end up with that answer. For this first one, just as a reminder, it is 1,000 times 5 plus 5,000 times 0.5 plus 400 times 12 plus 270 times 10. So we're just doing that multiplication side of things. However, because you've got your calculator, you can use it. Any questions about that? Yes. Yeah, so then you do it 2 years later by just changing that second matrix to the next one. And when you actually get your two matrices, you can sort of see the difference between them and work out how much extra money people have made over 2 years or lost. It doesn't ask you to, so no, you don't have to. However, I would ask you to if I was writing this question. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what I'd like you guys to do is I'll come around and help you if you need help, but I would like you to finish off 29B, finish off 30, the second part, and then move on to 31, 32, 33, and then we'll see where you're at that point. Okay.